Okay. What impact did your store see with COVID-19?
Well, we closed, I believe, through the middle of March, like maybe March 18th, March 19th, and then we reopened on May 1st when all the restrictions were lifted in the state, or at least whenever the city of Missoula said that non-essential businesses could go back. So yeah, we were closed for about 6 weeks. Overall, we followed the Missoula County guidelines when we reopened, like less capacity. We had all the signs on the door that said how many people could be in. I think at first it was 15 people, and all that fun stuff. What is the current status? Current status, we are open. We are still following Missoula County guidelines. We were bumped up, I believe, to phase 2 in like June or July, and then Missoula County specifically, I believe it was October 29th, put in new guidelines to have it all capacity lowered again a little bit. So we've been following that.
So how many people can you have in the store at a time?
I believe it's 15 again.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you ever have to like make people wait outside or anything like that?
Luckily, well, I don't know if it's necessarily lucky, but we're not usually busy enough for that to have that big of a problem. We're doing a big sale on Black Friday weekend, and so that's something that we have to be concerned about though whenever we do that, just to make sure that we're not overcrowded in the store or anything.
So, with that, then you'll probably have more than one employee at the store at a time for that sale.
Yeah, Small Business Saturday is the day we're specifically thinking is going to maybe be an issue, and we're going to have 2 people working that day just to make sure that, one, that if it's busy enough, we have enough people to help with all that stuff, and just to make sure that there's not too many people in the store at a time.
And do you think with the football season that it will be an issue with, on game days being really busy here and at the stadium store? Do you know what's going to happen with that?
Well, assuming that spring football does happen, because supposedly it is happening, but nobody really knows for sure, we are probably definitely going to have more than two people in the store just to make sure. Fall game days, it was very busy, and obviously we never had to worry about the number of people in the store. So yeah, it would definitely have to be monitored more thoroughly. And the stadium, I don't really know what the regulations are at the stadium store, and I don't work at the stadium store, so I don't know how that would work, but it'd probably be something similar. But yeah, the store, we would definitely need to have a couple more people there, just specifically to make sure that people are following social distancing and, waiting outside if need be.
So what changes were made to the store's physical presence to cooperate with the Missoula County Health Department?
So we have signs up in the window. So whenever the mask mandate was put into effect, both via Missoula County and the governor back in July, we put signs up in the window to make sure, and then all of our staff have to, be aware and let people know, hey, if you're not wearing a mask, like, you can't come in the store. And we also have stickers all over the floor, like everywhere else, that says, 6 feet standing apart, all that stuff. And then we also installed plexiglass in front of the cashiers. And the dressing rooms were closed for a time.
Okay. And the dressing rooms are open now?
Yes, they are.
And how long will these changes stay in place?
I'm not sure. I think in general, I won't mind if people don't want to stand super close to each other in line, but probably until Missoula County says that they don't need to be in place anymore, or governor or whatever, they'll be in place for as long as they need to be.
And have you lost customers, you feel like, to the mask mandate? Have you seen people turn around because they don't have a mask or something
Not
like that?
specifically, because in Missoula, you literally can't go in anywhere unless you have it, and pretty much everywhere in Missoula is pretty strict about it. They'll be like, can't come in. Every single store downtown has signs and all that stuff. So I don't think so. I'm sure there are people who won't come into the store for that reason, but I don't think it's been a huge problem because of that.
You haven't had, angry customers or anything like that in here?
I didn't deal with the experience, but one of my coworkers did. That was the very first weekend that they were, the mask mandate was put in place, and he had to deal with some very rude people that were not complying with him. So...
were any employee and consumer changes implemented? Meaning, do you have to have your temperature checked when you come in, or any employee changes like that?
Well, we're pretty small. Like, I mean, at most, at any given time of the year, we maybe have like 5 or 6 employees. So it's pretty much just self-regulating. You know, if you do not feel well or you feel any sort of symptoms, we just ask you not to come into work and we'll figure it out. And then if need be, say that someone at the store did get sick with COVID, we would probably, just because we all work in such close quarters, we would just shut the store down for however long need be. We haven't had to deal with that yet, though, so.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you think that your employees and coworkers are doing their part outside of work to stay healthy and not be, out doing things without a mask? Or
I would hope so. We recently had with the store owners and all the employees, we all went out to dinner together after a staff meeting, and one of my employees said this was the first time my coworkers said that this was the first time he'd been in a restaurant since everything had happened.
Wow.
So yeah, I think that for the most part they're pretty much just like at home, at work, only essential places.
Mm-hmm. And when you guys were shut down during that time, did you have any employees working from home, or how did the store owners handle that time period without having, hours to pay people and all of that?
So all of the employees were paid as they were scheduled on the schedule, which was very kind of them. And then we didn't, I don't think anyone was really working from home, but we did still have our online store up and operating. So someone did, the old manager did used to have to come in every few days just to ship out online orders and get that stuff done. But other than that, we were completely closed. So.
Okay. And do you think that the online orders were successful, or do you think that, you guys have lost a lot of business from being closed during that time?
Typically we're a little bit slower in the months of like January to April, so it was like kind of our slower season, but normally the beginning of the year is like April, May is tourist season, so I think we did lose out on some money, but I think I don't think online sales entirely made up for it, but that's our slower time of the year anyway, so it was kind of, I guess, a more convenient time for us to be closed.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there wasn't a lot of tourists traveling at the time.
Yeah, exactly, so.
Did you have changes in advertising to get people to come to the location once you were able to reopen or to shop online?
I think we tried to just let people know via social media, like, hey, we are open, we're still doing online shopping, we're willing to accommodate with you. So I think it was mostly just posting on social media because, especially in Missoula, not every business opened up as soon as they could. A lot of them waited a little bit. So a lot of people would call and ask if we were open. So we just really wanted to get the word out there, like, yes, we are in fact open.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And with being a small business, you don't necessarily have a ton of money in marketing and to get your word out there, whatever. So.
Yep, we just use social media, like our people who follow us on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. We've pretty devout little thing of followers.
Okay. And do you think that there was something that would have worked better, looking back on the time you guys were closed?
Mm-hmm.
With, you were still paid based off of the schedule or the normal amount of hours that you would work. Do you think that being on unemployment would have been better for the store? Do you think that they could have done more advertising for online shopping?
I'm not 100% sure because I wasn't necessarily manager at that point in time, but I think in terms for the store owners being still paying us, because I believe if we had gone on unemployment, it would have been a whole nother process for them, so it was better for them to just keep us employed and to just pay our salaries. I think they were able to qualify for a specific business loan that way, which I believe is why they did that. I don't know. I think they posted, I'd have to go look through our social media account, but I'm pretty sure maybe once or twice a week they posted, like, hey, we're still closed, just with updates, and saying, like, you can still shop online. So I don't really know if there would have been too much else that we could have done.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, and did your location add or increase options like curbside or pickup or ordering from apps?
Well, we just have our normal website, so that was just always an option. And then we did have a couple people at the very beginning who they would call and they would order, and they would, basically online ordering, and then they would just pick it up in the store and we'd bring it to them at the door so they wouldn't have to come in.
Yeah, and then they didn't have to pay for shipping.
Mm-hmm, yep, and we've actually always had the option to have it shipped to the store or have it be in-store pickup, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So you have always offered the curbside / in-store pickup
Mhm.
option. So
Yep.
that's not necessarily a change for because of COVID.
We probably just saw a little bit more of it.
Yeah. Were consumers interested in your COVID-19 response and your cleaning efforts? I think, or, you know, what do you think your efforts will be during the football season when they're supposed to be playing this spring?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, we'll probably just have to be pretty diligent about it. I mean, we have a set of a set of standards printed out that all of the employees had to sign that said, like, if I'm sick, I'll do this, and this is how much cleaning we will do. Make sure that everything's cleaned at the end of the day, all that stuff. I haven't seen too many customers be concerned about it. I remember when we first opened back up, because whenever people pay with a credit card, they're supposed to sign our iPad with their finger, and so we would just have the employee do that instead, rather, to reduce contact. So, I don't know. With football, it'll definitely be interesting. It'll be interesting to see that if there is spring football. I don't think any of us are expecting the same amount of turnout that we normally see during the fall, especially because if there's spring football, they're going to be reducing the capacity in the stadium by a lot, so I don't think that will help. I mean, like, we're hopeful that if there's football, and just like with sports coming back in general, because basketball, I believe, comes back this week, that maybe we will see some more people, but I don't think we're expecting anything near what we're used to with fall football season.
Okay. And there's been a couple places I've gone, and they have like a sign that says, "Do not sanitize our credit card machine. We sanitize it after every person." And I think that's because consumers are really concerned that, the employees aren't doing their part to sanitize the counter and the machine after everyone uses it. Is that something that you do here? Do you sanitize the counter or doors or things like that multiple times during the day?
Yeah, we try to. I mean, since we are a small business, we're not usually super busy, so we're supposed to, every single time there's a transaction, wipe down the keypad and all of the stuff around us and the counter in front of us, and then throughout the day we're supposed to clean off the door handles to the front door, and then if anyone uses the dressing rooms, we're supposed to clean those out when we're done.
Okay. And then has any consumers asked about your cleaning efforts, and if so, how did you communicate with the expectations of the store?
Not really. I did have one little boy come in with his mom, and he was like, "You guys should clean all of your hangers," and I was like, "I'm sorry?" And he was like, "You guys should really clean all of your hangers," and I was like, "Well, I think we probably have about 3,000 hangers in the store. Like, I don't really think that's very realistic to have 2 or 3 people clean all that." And so I was just like, yeah, like, I don't know, we'll see if we can. Yeah. But other than that, it's been pretty, I don't really remember anyone asking about it.
Okay. What response have you had from consumers? Are they fearful of returning to the store? How do they feel about your cleaning response? Do they have any new needs that you know of?
I don't really believe too many people have been fearful. I remember when we first opened up, like, that first week or so in May, because we have a lot of, like, loyal customers that come in all the time. They were very excited that we were back open, and, on Facebook, whenever we announced we were back open, like, I always see the same names respond to stuff. So I think for the most part, at least what I saw, I'm sure there were some people who were a little bit anxious to come into the stores, but from what I saw, for the most part, they weren't too fearful. And then, in terms of cleaning, I just don't really think anyone's really made any comments, which I hope is a good thing, and it means that, we're doing our part. And then, new needs, I guess the only really new need is, everyone wants a face mask. Mm-hmm. So we've had to buy a bunch of those and keep up with, demand, because those have probably been our best-selling thing all year.
Yeah.
So.
That's funny. How have they been supportive while you were shut down? Did people buy gift cards or stuff like that?
I think it was mainly just online shopping, because in the spring is when we do start to get a lot of new inventory, so I think that it was just up to the manager at the time and to, make sure that people were buying stuff online and making sure, like, hey, this is some new stuff that we got in the mail,